Taleggio. I presented the younger couple with a sample of the dense pale yellow cheese with its orange edible rind. I watched for their reaction, knowing they'd sense a pudding silkiness on their tongue just a moment before delighting in its mellow sweetness and lingering earthy aftertaste. When their smiles told me I was right, I handed them a recipe card. This artichoke risotto is amazing with taleggio cheese. It's very easy to make, but sure to impress. The newly married couple would be hosting their parents for the first time, and were relieved to get help with dinner ideas. I could have kept them in my shop for hours, sampling cheeses that would elevate even the most basic recipes, but I'd learned in my years training in cheese shops all over the country not to overwhelm the customer on their first visit. They agreed to the taleggio. I cut a portion from the refrigerated glass case by the checkout counter. My coworker, Mrs. Schultz, smack dab in her 60s, as she liked to say, was cutting and wrapping their charcuterie selections. Deluged by the choices upon entering the shop, they'd homed in on the day's highlighted varieties, which were advertised on chalkboards hung on the raised panel wall behind the counter. In their panic, they'd ordered one of each. Instead, I spent time with the couple at our sampling counter so they could make a more informed choice about their cheese purchases. It was the very reason I made sure we always had a glass-covered platter of soft and aged cheeses to be tasted with accompaniments like crispy baguettes or chewy dried apricots. I never want anyone to be intimidated by cheese. While Mrs. Schultz was finishing up their order, I scanned the shop to make sure Guy Lippinger from All Things Sonoma hadn't arrived without my noticing. I'd been open barely 2 weeks, but somehow the magazine critic discovered my French-inspired cheese shop in the small town of Yarrow Glen. His review could determine whether my shop prospered or died. No biggie. I also had my fingers crossed that a good review would be published in time for the Sonoma's Choice Awards next month. I could use all the publicity I could get. I'd sunk every dime.